Hello and hey, this is Frank with Light on the Trail podcast. And on this episode, I am joined by a dear friend of mine, wonderful person, man and husband, Brandon Cox. And he ran his very first 5K trail race. And he's not a runner, he's more of a powerhouse giant of a man. And he's going to kind of tell his story, give his background. But if there's anybody listening to this and you've wanted to run a race or run along and you're just like, I'm not made for running, this is for you because he did it and he knocked it out of the park. Check it out.
The one thing I kept thinking is like, well, I gotta beat that time. That's not good enough. So now I'm already looking. I'm looking at the next one, trying to find the next one.
Alrighty, and here we are, Light on the Trail. I'm joined with Mr. Brandon Cox, the Brandon Dale. Thank you, sir.
Well, hello. It's good to be here. This is, since I've started my own podcast, because the other one, I had two flakes that wouldn't want to keep going.
Well, I was going to get into that.
So this is the first time I'm a guest on a podcast since I became a professional.
Professional, right. Well, real quick, I'll set the scene. So he's a guest on my podcast right now. So I want y'all to know, we used to be, yeah. So we had a podcast together about video games called Game Chatter. And with my brother, Brandon is my other brother, essentially a cousin. But I'm pretty sure we're not even related anymore because it was like through marriage or something weird. But we've grown up together and forever. But he moved away and has been in Colorado now for like 2 years.
Oh my God, it's really been that long? Jeez,
Is that right?
Yeah, 2 years.
Well, my heart says it's been like 10 years. So,
Oh,
but yes. So there's a brief background to us before. But to set the scene, other than growing up together and having fun, it's like two different, I don't want to say like styles or whatever. Like I played a little bit of football. Brandon played a lot of football, but I've always been more of like a running back and run away from danger. And they literally put Brandon in front of everything. Like if I was still running back, like I'd get behind him to take cover and all the hits. Brandon, will you tell me your height and weight if you want? And like, I don't know, you're definitely more of a powerlifter kind of guy, right?
so I've always been a big guy. Right now, I am 6'5", 400 pounds. I'm a big guy. Yeah.
You're 400 pounds?
Yeah, I'm a big dude.
Dude, you're jacked. You're like muscle now. He's been working out a whole lot. I'm sorry. Continue.
And so that means I was even heavier, but it's been melting off, so that's been great. So I've always been a big guy, and when I saw that Frank started this podcast, I was like, well, I'm never going to be a guest on that podcast. I don't run. My body's not meant to run. Well,
but
I was wrong.
So you find yourself hearing about a 5K or something, or what made you sign up? But I think you told me it was free. Is that correct? Like a local thing at your gym or something, or a park?
Yeah. So last 3 months, actually, I would say closer to 6, but mainly 3 months, I've been so dedicated to working out. We have this big thing we call the incline where I live. It's a big old staircase to on top of a mountain. It's like a mile, and it's like 2,000 steps. And I've been training for that because my son really wants to do it, and I want to do it too. And someone told me about 4th of July 5K, and I was like, for some reason, I couldn't even really give you a good reason. I'm like, I need to do that. I was like,
for 4th of July,
even if I come in dead last, I at least got to put the effort out there. And so I did. And yeah, I just looked it up and saw it was free. And I was like, it's a sign for me to go. But I was hesitant.
You have like no excuse then.
Because I remember I texted you, I was like, dude, I just don't want to be last. This is the last thing. I didn't want the embarrassment. I roll up, everyone's gone, or I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going no more because they pulled the signs out already. I was worried about
Yeah,
that
was
one.
there another dude? Nah. Right, and that's something I think which is a really, a neat point on that is that, like, where I may do a 5K or run something or someone that has been running for a while or whatever has one end of the spectrum of the goal is to beat their PR or come in top 10 or top 3 or 5 or whatever or something like that where and then from one end it's right
Oh
you're
no.
like you want to do it more or less to like prove to yourself or to your son or whatever or just like do something new to push yourself um and that's like the coolest thing it's just like I want to see if I can do it. I want to push myself to do something new. Sure, why not? Yeah, I'll make my son do it with me too. That'll be a fun experience. So like a father, more of a father moment and like a self production, moment, not like necessarily competition or anything, but like something new, um, which I think is like the core of like greatness. Like why do it? Because these are good reasons to make myself better in all these other aspects. Because and you have been I do get excited when you text me about the gym stuff because I know that you're at the gym and you'll tell me I don't know I want to work on this today or whatever and I like it because I know that you're kicking butt at it and that you're having a good time but that you're still doing it and like still consistent and everything. I'm like, dude, he is like grinding and like getting after it. And I was just saying, yeah, a little before we started recording here, like I can tell, like your face looks like small, like you've lost weight and everything, and you've just been like killing it. And then did a freaking 5K. I was like, dude, oh my gosh, you can come on the like we can talk about this. You can be on my podcast. It's running related. Like, oh, we could be together again. So
And
I'm stoked.
it's crazy because when I thought afterwards, like as soon as it was over, after hyperventilating, thinking I'm going to black out, uh, looking for anywhere to lay down. But after all that, the one thing I kept thinking is like, well, I got to beat that time. That's that's not good enough. So now I'm already looking. I'm looking at the next one, trying to
Dude, that's
find the
so
next one.
funny.
And the next day, I even text him. I'm going to the gym. My legs are killing me, but it's leg day. And I was like, well, might as well do another 5K. I was like, it's only on the treadmill, but I was like, why not? Why not just do it again the next day?
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Dude.
I don't know. I've been running a lot this week. I never. I've been playing football. I played football for 4 years. I uh, I never ran. I was the kid that if the coaches weren't looking, I ain't running. So it's been weird to be enjoying it as much because when I'm on the trail, you know, it took a while, but there was that point that everyone talks about the runner's high, and I felt it. Not for long, but long enough where I'm like, oh, I get it now.
That's
I uh,
crazy.
I understand why people enjoy this. But man, before that was pretty rough. I'm like, why did I sign up for this?
It's like right. So it's 3.2 miles, 3 miles for a 5K. And then as soon as you get done with like that 1 mile, even I always the beginning of anything when I'm running or just doing like a training run or something, always early on, I think it's a common thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's one. I'm not even halfway. Like my heart rate is like spiked right now, unless I warm up like for a while and get up there, But yeah, did they have a mile marker out on like the course?
No, they did it, but I have an Apple Watch because I'm fancy, and I was tracking it on there.
Good, good.
um, so the first one, okay, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna jog slash run, and at the beginning of it, so I get about a mile in, and I'm about halfway to the pack. Let's say there's like 200 people. I'm about 70th place, something like that. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing really good. I look at my watch, it says a mile. I'm like, okay, that's not great, but that's fine. But no one told me because this was on a soft trail, is what they call it, soft trail, I guess.
Okay, it was like crushed like rock, like Just loot like light
It was
kind
a
of press
trail.
trail.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I don't know the difference.
Not a
Uh,
sidewalk.
yeah, not a sidewalk.
Okay.
So after about a mile and a half, the next mile or so was all uphill. But I burnt all my energy in that first half. And so the last half, it was torture. E- Going uphill was the issue I kept having, and I was dying. Luckily, it ended going back down a little bit, so I could like, okay, we could come back to it. But I saw where I could improve, which really made me. I think it gets you excited because it's all about the gains, right? If it's lifting better, more weight, getting faster time, beating your last
Yeah.
try.
You have a number to a time or a weight that you've lifted or whatever, and you're like, that's in your head. Like you said, right when you're done, you're like, but what if I could take off like 10 seconds?
Yeah,
What if I could add 20 pounds? Like,
yeah.
it's that immediate, like, kind of human response of like, but did I have more left in the tank? Could I do more?
Is that
Can I do more? Yes.
that's a lot, Zach? At the end of it, when I could run slash jog, what do you want to call it? At the end of it, I was like, what if I could have done this a few more times? I could have shaved
Right.
off a lot of time. So I'm excited. Next one's on a road, so that'll be a little different.
Ah,
I think it's
awesome.
I think
That
it's
was one of the
flat
questions.
too.
Nice. Okay, I was gonna ask because I knew you kind of mentioned you're looking at another one, and I was gonna ask. I didn't know since it was free if they timed you or not. But obviously, I get you kind of timed yourself. So,
Yeah,
attaboy.
that's one.
Yeah, having that number, um, yes, gives you. It's always right there. You're like, man, I bet I could do a little something for someone that wants to right to improve themselves or push yourself or be brave enough to step into that kind of thing. Yeah, having a a weight of your bench or your squat or a time of your 5K, 1 mile, 13 mile, whatever it is. I like that a lot, and it's part of it's competitive, but it's also part of like when I was doing like the obstacle course races. As soon as I went into the competitive tier, like it made me train more, partly because of the cost, but also because I knew like I don't want to get last. I don't want to get smoked. If I'm going to try it, if I think I'm going to compete, I need to be competitive,
Hmm.
and so I need to train like a competitor, kind of thing. Um, yeah, and to that too with the you when looking at prices at the racing, isn't it racing at the races? Um, it's funny. I get it because it takes more time the longer the race is. That used to kind of bug me too when I started. I was like, why is a 5K this much when like I want to be out there longer and it costs more for a marathon or whatever it is, but they have to have the volunteers have to be out there. Whoever's out there has to be
True,
out there longer too for
true.
you to drag your butt across the line and do all that stuff longer. So, but yeah, they get up there. They get real expensive, especially once you get it, the ultra rate running stuff and they have 100 mile or whatever it is, and it's overnight, or some races are just a set time. They'll be like, just a 24-hour race, as many miles as you can do. And like, holy crap.
Yeah, a couple episodes ago, you were talking to one of your friends who was doing like those big old long races, and that's the craziest thing I ever heard. Doing 100 miles in a day, or
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Now I could a couple weeks ago I couldn't imagine going 2 miles. So who knows?
And now you're trying to beat your PR for your 5K. And when is it? It's like in a couple months or a month.
So the next one I found is August 19th. And
Okay, yeah, it's like a
that
month away.
yeah. So that gives me time to now I'm actually like, okay, how can I add running into my training regimen? Because I have been training or working out 6 to 7 times a week.
Good heavens.
And so like I did what I did today is I did my squat and deadlift. And then I was like, even though my legs are tired, so just go run afterwards. There's no reason not to.
Dang,
You'll
nice.
you'll figure it out. It'll all work out. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll live. Yeah, we'll get through it. What does what does your son think about it, or thinks about it now versus then, or kind of?
So
thing.
when I told him, he was like, "Hey man, you're doing a 5K with me tomorrow." He's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "You'll find out."
Yeah.
Like, go to bed early because we're gonna wake up
I
early.
I was so excited when you told me you were looking into it, and then that your son Uriah was doing it with you. Um, I called you. I was like, "Let me talk to him," and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
"Dude, you doing it? Like, cool. What are are you gonna beat your dad? Are you gonna run at the end? I bet you're gonna sprint at the end."
He,
Yeah.
he
And
beat
that's
me.
when I talked to you. Like, you gonna let your son beat you? I was just
He
because
beat
I
me.
knew. Yeah. Was he at the end? Was he waiting for it and just like turned on the burners and ran across the
Yeah,
line?
he always kept just ahead of me. Yeah, he also texted. He called me like twice on the trail. I'm
No, he
like,
didn't.
yeah. I'm like, first of all, I can't breathe, so I can see you. You're fine. Stop calling me.
Oh my gosh, just run. I'm right by yeah.
Yeah, just keep going. Just keep
Where
going.
you at, dad? Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
as as a bigger guy who is really focused on not being no more, it's something I don't want my son to go through. I want him to always be fit. So stuff like this growing up, my parents would have never been involved in. So I'm trying to keep him athletic so that he never develops these really bad habits and then wait till he's 31 to fix it. And, and like you said before, it's the bonding. It's something
Yeah.
we can say we've done together. I do everything with my son. So it's just something else later we'll be able to tell somebody, yeah, we did a 5K together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's those kinda those little things that it may not even, be as heavy of a memory right now for him or if he remembers, but it's still it takes a step in that direction of memories or if he has to reflect on, like, what is if I just did have to describe my dad, what does he do or whatever, and that's something I've, like, praised you and applaud you for before you had a kid before me. And yeah, pretty early on, you're like being involved with him and being active with him. And you've been a coach for his football team the last couple of years and just keeping him busy. I knew y'all would go jog around the neighborhood too, because he's like tall. I mean, again, you're his dad. You're like I said, like 6'5". He's already tall and a
Yeah.
big kid, but him gonna like be like if I can imagine you, but yeah, more athletic and like more driven and stuff, like yeah, he's gonna be an absolute like monster.
That's how I'm
And
hoping.
that's good. That's just good parenting. Yeah. And now he's got to stand up for his little sisters that he's got too now. But
Oh,
you're doing yeah, you're doing a great job, brother. And I'm so happy. And we've kind of talked about that before from our backgrounds of our parents not being very involved or even like pushing us to be better at sports or school or whatever. And like just we just kind of got to do not necessarily all that we wanted to do. We were decent kids, but never really pushed in the right direction or to help like grow in an area or given opportunities to kind of do more things until we got older and we're like, man, our parents kind of sucked, but
yeah, yeah,
let's do better.
yeah. There was never a chance that I was ever going to grow up to be an astronaut. I just, my parents, they would never
We'll
nurture.
scratch that off
All
the
right.
list.
But I want my son to actually be able to grow up to be anything he wants. And I'm trying to just build the base so that whenever he's ready to build his house, it's however he wants to build it, he'll be able to.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. And with the foundation, yeah,
Yeah.
foundation is so much of it. Do you with the oh, let me click this over. With the race, so you weren't last.
I was not last.
Hey,
I
hey.
was closer to last than first. And I was close to the first until I realized there was an uphill part. My bad.
Well.
Next time I'll be ready.
So you didn't like did they have a course map that you could see or they just said, "Hey, it's going to be around this park on this trail," and you're like, "I know where that is," but like didn't really know where the course led?
So they had these arrows when you came up to like a fork or whatever, and you just follow the arrows.
But you weren't
Um,
familiar with that area or that
no,
trail.
I actually. So I've sent you a picture before. It's So, like I said before, we had this big old incline, but there's also a little one somewhere else, and which is like 200 big old steps.
Oh, okay.
It's I've been in this area, but I haven't been on these trails before,
Gotcha, gotcha.
and so everything was new, everything was fresh. Um, it, I know for next time. Now that's my Fourth of July thing. I'm gonna start doing this. I'm committed. So next time I actually know the course and be able to push the energy when I need to.
Yes. That's that I'm doing, and the reason I ask because I have tomorrow I'm getting up at like, I don't know, 4 something or 4:30. I'm gonna meet up with a buddy and we're gonna try to meet at a park, get to the park at like 6 to go run because that park is where my next race is in like a few weeks.
Nice.
Um, so I want to, it being so close, it's only like an hour away, at the state park. I have an opportunity or a doable opportunity to go out there and like kind of scout it out and see it and just do what I can do to understand the course better because I want to do good.
Right.
Um, push myself and do. It's a new distance. It's at night. I've never ran a night race, so I'm excited about that. But and just I have the chance to scout it out. So let's go put in some miles and do a run here, get familiar with it. We'll call it a, whatever kind of training day. And it'll be fun. So I'm excited to do that tomorrow. But when I had done my marathon before, I wasn't able to. It was just further away. And I got on like the maps and like went to the satellite view so many times and tried to like look and find like see exactly where it was going to be and everything, and it was okay. But now that I have the chance, I'm trying to do my research and whatever I can do to perform better at least, and that might be even a mental side to it, right? Like, hey, you've ran through here before, you know what to expect, or I won't have any worry in my head of like, what if there's a really rocky part or some kind of steep part or whatever. So just getting familiar with it, being more comfortable with it, I think will help me like mentally and then prepare more physically for it. I mean, it's got to.
I actually so when I lived in Texas, as you know, everywhere you turn around, there's a football track, and you can go run on the football track. They're all open. There's one or two that actually has a fence, but most of the time the door's open.
Yeah,
That is not the case in Colorado. I can't go find somewhere to run. Now there is a bunch of trails, but as a novice, I don't know. I don't want to go to one that I'm just not ready for. So that's one thing I've been looking into. Is like what? Like I would like to go run tomorrow, but I don't know where, and that's something I'm hoping I can figure out.
that's a good point actually. And it's funny you kind of mentioned that because yeah, Colorado is like a hot spot for outdoor activity in general, but like runners for sure.
Hmm.
I always hear about someone who got sponsored or running or whatever, and they go to Colorado because that's where all the trails are, and it's
Yep.
at elevation, so it's better for your I want to say VO2 or whatever, but your that's being at elevation for the oxygen kind of I guess restriction or whatever. But a lot of people go to Colorado for that and kind of better weather and to run in the cold and do everything, and like it's like the hot spot for that. I know out here most of the trails that I go to at a local park or at state parks and things, I guess state parks have more of trails like for hiking, I guess, and which turns into running less than like dirt bike trails. There's a place I go to a lot out here, that's just a normal like park, but they have like single track like dirt mountain bike trails. Geez, so it's mountain bike places, and you can find the mountain bike something about that at the entrance of like one of the trailheads, and it'll have like whatever beginner, hard, harder, advanced, or whatever to have an idea of that for a mountain bike it would be. So I in Colorado may do it differently. I would think usually it's some kind of trailhead area. They have like a little kiosk thing with the board that says this is
Right.
the so and so Parker Trail, and this trail is the Blue Trail, and it's 2.4 miles, and it's easy. And this one goes over here, and if you do the whole loop,
Right.
it's 8 miles. Yeah, usually something like that there, especially if it's a state park. I would think they probably go in more detail about that. But with that, I have been so frustrated. I finally the place I was just talking about that I go to most often that is a mountain bike trail essentially. Um, there's other little cutoff trails where people that are familiar with it just cut around here or you go over here and stuff. So it took me forever to figure out where which way was the right way to go to stay on what trail because not at every intersection there wasn't a left is this and right is this, and I
Right.
only saw it at certain places. So that was so frustrating because I'm going to try to run this trail today or do all these, and it's like I'd end up popping back out somewhere else. I'm like, I have no idea where I am. How did I get here? And I look on like my little GPS tracker map thing, and I'm like, what happened? Yeah, like dang it. And now like I don't want to go back off in the woods and just try to find the spot. So I'm finally getting familiar with this course here. Um, but that is a struggle sometimes that I've found, but getting better with. And I would assume at state parks again are more maintained or not places that they might have more like better
Right.
markers, blazers, whatever,
I
trail markers.
I never thought I would be interested in running. So this is real interesting and new and fresh for me because I've always been a strong guy, being able to lift. And so 3 months ago, because I before that I actually haven't been to the gym in 10 years, give or take. And I was like, you know what we're gonna do is even if I just show up and go to the bathroom and leave, I'm showing up
You're there. Yeah.
because you're never just gonna go to the bathroom and leave. So you're gonna do something. And I was like, no matter what, every day, that's what I'm doing.
Get there. The goal is get there. And if you're
Get there,
there,
yep.
well, I might as well do this or
Might as
yeah,
well. Might as well. And dude, that first week, it's torture. You hurt everywhere. Your body's just aching. And and I remember after that first week, I was like, I never want to feel this again. And the only way you can not do that is you gotta keep going.
and
Just
just
gotta
do it.
and
There
now it's not hurting. And that's one thing I noticed with running when I was so sore. And when I ran the next day, I actually was like, oh, now I feel better. So like I kind of want to keep this going.
yeah.
And I don't know, I'm just so excited about it.
And I've said this like a lot of times on here before, but something and kind of like I mentioned it earlier, something that I love the most is seeing people do hard things and push themselves and try to grow and be a better person and everything. One of the episodes I quoted, I can't remember the exact, but it's Matthew in Matthew somewhere, but it talks about it's the passage with the gate of essentially going the easy route can lead to destruction, and then choosing the narrow gate, a harder path leads to more, more benefits learning from. So, right, there's always that. Essentially, do hard things to grow better. Don't take the easy way out. It can lead to more easy way outs that lead down to a bad path or bad trail. The passage that I've been looking at and I wrote down to mention on this one is in Deuteronomy, just one of those one of the many interesting names through the Bible. But so Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." So, and depending on whatever lens you're going through right now, to see things. But this to me, again, that's just like what I'm always looking for is ways to feel brave or courageous or to push myself. And that's what this one's starting off like that. Be strong and courageous. And it period. It's not like a comma. It literally starts with like be strong and courageous, the end. Also don't be afraid because God's with you always. He'll never leave you or forsake you. The end. Like check. It's one of the I love the direct and like kind of simple ones at times where it's just like, okay, like I should take that. Like if I were to memorize this one and say it like every time I go like running, like boom, like all right, boosted. Um, but that it's again, it's like one of those things that I pray a lot when I'm running, but I like I like that point and being courageous or brave or doing hard things like your first 5K or going for a new bench max. like I haven't done in forever. Um, kind of always it, it's exciting either way. And for some people, if it's just getting to the location, if it's getting to the trail or going to being physically at the gym, right? And there's a lot of that people that you since from being in high school and stuff, and you're kind of more familiar with gym, like the feel of a gym or like equipment against someone that is just maybe touching a gym floor for like the first time this year or something and doesn't having that anxiety over like machines. You're like, well, I don't even know what to do. Like if I get there, I'll go walk on the treadmill. Like I know what a bicep curl is. I'll do that. But that's literally like you're there, you're doing it. Start with that, right? And then you might like, oh, I'm gonna let's look up a workout, and you get more comfortable and more comfortable. But you have to start with being there and being courageous, and like, hey, the Lord's with me. He's happy that I'm here. I'm trying to grow myself, and I'm gonna do better. I'm already here. Let's let's just do this, right? I think kind of resonates with just getting there and being ready with the mindset to better yourself.
Yeah, it's easy not to go. I mean, there's always an excuse. Every day I go to gym, I can think of 10 reasons not to go. But I know if I want to be the person I want to be in the future or I want to accomplish these things, I this is where I have to be. And my training partner, he doesn't come from an athletic background. So we're doing, like I said, we both haven't worked out in forever. My bench press or my squat are skyrocketing. Like it's muscle memory to me. Like you'll get
Form
there.
is a lot, yeah.
I'm like, as long as you keep showing up, you'll get your own gaps, and they'll start growing, growing, and it'll get better. Which he has. He's just right on me on most things. I make sure to be on top because I'm the best. He just needs to know that. And like I said, it's easy not to go. But so in 3 months, I've lost 80 pounds, and
Whew.
it's not easy. And no, I did not have surgery. I did not take the easy way out, which
No.
it's okay if you do. I'm not saying do what you got to do. Um, it's not easy to go every day. It's not easy counting calories because it's so boring to count them and doing this. Even though you're on your phone for 5 seconds doing it, it's boring.
Right. It's developing that habit or
Yeah.
getting just doing it. And if
Yep.
you just do it every time, then it turns from just doing it to like it's just what you do.
Right. And
Oh,
so
I'm just logging. Yeah.
when I was logging, when I first started, I was like, you know what? No matter what, I don't care what the number is, I'm gonna log. And then you start catching yourself like, dang, cheese is that many calories? Oh my god! So you start throwing things out. You find a number that you're comfortable with, and you try to stay at that number. And I mean, obviously, the lower that is, plus your workout, these the weight just starts dropping off. And hopefully, by the time I'm on again, it'll be another 80. We'll see. And I'll
Dude.
be running a 10K. That's my plan.
No, you can't. I gotta look. You've always been stronger than me,
Yes.
but you can't get faster than me. Don't don't do this to me. Leave me with this.
I it's a dream of mine. Look, like you said, I was a lineman. I was the guy blocking, or right. I was always in the middle. It's always been my dream to be the guy running the ball. This is my chance. And I'm just gonna sneak up on you one day. We're gonna go for a hike. And I'm just gonna blow you away.
I'll be so upset. I'll be
Uh,
so happy, but so upset at the same
it'll be
time.
the happiest day of my life.
It's so here's an interesting twist. Like, so the only, not that I've played a lot of sports, but before the running, and I've kind of mentioned this before too, and other times, and I try to get you into it because you're so big. Arm wrestling.
Oh God.
You give me so much junk about the arm wrestling stuff. You're like, dude, you're not talking about arm wrestling right now. Yeah, man, you got to do like. It was great. It was a cool experience because I was so used to other kind of exercises, not a strength based, almost combat sport kind of thing. And it was all, no legs necessary really. So doing that for a little bit was neat. It's the first time I ever tried to train strength and like muscle like gain kind of stuff other than just like being fit and just doing whatever like across the board. It was like I just need like more wrist and more arm and shoulders and all this, and like that was neat. That was learning, and I was trying something new, and that was fun. But I just missed running, and then the crazy distance stuff kind of appealed to me more at this. But with that, we got a new roof today from the storm. It
Nice.
got tore up
Oh,
not too long ago. A couple shingles got yanked off and all that, and it actually got covered by the insurance, thank God.
perfect.
And a buddy of mine that I used to arm wrestle with, who's actually ranked number one in my weight class for arm wrestling in the Texas ranks, owns a roofing company. And I was like, "Hey, man." So anyway, after we got it all figured out, and he came down, and I had my arm wrestling table on the back porch still. It's like, so I did arm wrestle today too for the first time in like over a year, um, and that was fun. And I'm no obviously again he's like I said, he's ranked number one and just the stud. He was sore and beat up, and he's like, let's pull a little bit and arm wrestle. And I got a match. He has a match tonight. He's probably doing it right now, like defending his title. And actually, it's the weight class above him that he got moved up to, or that he went up to pull this guy, and he's still gonna win. But I was like, yeah, I can practice with you. Like all my might is enough to like warm him up. But I did arm wrestle today for the first time in a while, and I was like, oh man, yay, arm workout.
My favorite thing was Frank would be working it so hard, getting real strong, having these perfect techniques, and we would meet up, and I would just smoke him, and I could see the depression in your face.
Yeah, rightfully so. There was one point when we were doing it, I was like, if I can just hold him, it's so much in technique and wrist. If I can just like lock something in enough to give you like a little startle, like, ooh, what do I do? No, it never like it was the total like, oh, can I go now? And his hand is twice as big as mine. And I can't even get my thumb around him enough. And I'm just like, all right, here we go. Boom. And I was like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
dang it. Like
I pretty much got like a bear claw with a thumb.
yes, everyone that was there, and my brother-in-law, I got him into it for a little bit, and he would do it with me, but he's also just been like a power lifter, shorter, stocky dude.
Hmm.
And at first when we started, I could beat him if I did certain technique stuff, and then he just like figured it out and just mops the floor with me now too, or then, and I was like, all right, guys, like brute strength is not my thing. I'm going back to running
Yeah,
away.
let's go race. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, let's do this again. Let's go run a 5K, and then we'll do it again. Uh, but it was fun. I was trying something new and it appealed to me, and it was neat. But
So one thing I've been looking up that I've been really interested. Tell me about these Spartan races.
oh, yeah. So in the obstacle course realm of running and racing, they're kind of the top dog. They've been around not the longest, but they made a bigger name for themselves pretty quickly. And so Spartan has uh quite a few distances now. I haven't followed it nearly as much as I had like 4ish years ago when I was really into it, but they have some stadium races still, I think, which is what it sounds like. Up a lot of stairs and running around. Like they'll go to baseball fields or football fields and things like that, and incorporate more of like a stadium style kind of in and out, inside outdoor back and forth thing. They'll do like a 10-mile one all the way up to like an ultra. They'll go to like ski resorts and have essentially an ultra run like a race would be, like up in the mountains and on trails, 30, 40 miles or so. But then they'll also put in like 30 obstacles, or 20 obstacles and stuff like that. So that those turn me off, because I see those two as two different, like, if you're already an ultra runner and just kind of fit, that's what a lot of them did. They would
Mhm.
just, well, I can do that, and they, as long as you can pull yourself up over a wall, essentially, that they would still just like kick butt in those. But I've never ran a Spartan. I've done a handful of other ones.
Like the was it mud runs and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what they call them. So there's a Savage race that's in October. but they have a kids division, and my son's he'll be 6 in October, and they ran the kids one, might have been last year or something before, and my daughter too. So we'll do that, and I was thinking again, like, I might run do the actual race because I just we just brought them there before, so they did it, and it was like a half a mile or something with like 5 obstacles or 10 obstacles. It's for kids, it sounds
Yeah.
great. They're having a blast, but,
And now,
um
if I saw it right, I know. There's like what, like the just complete it, and then you have like the racing one, right? And
yeah.
if you can't do an obstacle, did it look like people can just walk around them? Like I can't do it.
Yeah, so and I ran with my wife before, but they have the competitive waves, which is what it sounds like the competitive ones, and they run first wave, because some obstacles will get more muddy or more trashed or messed up. Like sometimes they have like a stack of hay bales, which after 200 people go over them, they start falling apart, and it can make it harder or not. But that way, also, so there's no people in the way of the competitive ones they're trying to run because some of the races have cash like prizes. But yes, they have just completion ones where it's just a lot of people come and like they'll all have matching t-shirts or wearing tutus or silly stuff, and they're like, "Let's go," and they just complete it, which is really cool. Again, because they're just like, "Let's do it together," and they have all that aspect of people that are just walking the whole thing. You can walk around an obstacle if you can't do it, and the people that want to freaking race it and try to get sponsored and do all that stuff, and it's really fun and it's cool. It's one of those things again to say like, dude, I did it or I tried and like all that. So it's really cool. It's really fun.
I didn't realize how much stuff. Like I figured, okay, I want to look up a 5K and there'll be one in 4 months, whatever, right? It's like every weekend.
You can get
There's,
after it.
I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, if I really wanted to just commit to this, I could. I mean, I don't know if I could financially support it, but I was like, wow, it's crazy when you're not part of this world and you never see it until
Yes.
you look into it, you're like, oh, I didn't realize it was so complex and and so wide and popular because
Yeah.
I was just avoiding anything to do with my legs moving fast. Stay away from it.
That's awesome. I thought, well, I'm glad I just remembered this. Yeah, right. You look into it and oh, there's one here. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more in Colorado because there's more trails and things everywhere. I've been looking into, which is quickly becoming a bucket list goal of mine, to set a FKT for a Texas trail, which is the fastest known time. It's like a record for a trail. There's like maybe 15 in Texas. There's like, I couldn't even tell you how many in Colorado. There's so many in Colorado. Rightfully so, because they have more terrains. But for your race, what was your choice of shoes? Got any special? How did that feel for you? You like those? You
Okay,
go barefoot? What you got? Yeah, tell me the skills here.
not barefoot. Oh god.
No.
So as I lose weight, I you give yourself goals, and one of my goals is when I hit the certain weight, I was going to buy me shoes. Well, I hit that this week because I didn't get it in time. So I just wore your ultimate dad New Balances, the white
Oh my
ones.
gosh. Bless you.
But I mowed the yard a couple of days before that, so they were also like green, a little bit of green on the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
That's what I wore. But now that I actually hit my goal, I'm buying me completely different shoes. I've I found I was like, look, if I'm going to keep this up, I got to reward myself with the workout stuff and instead of like food. I got to find something to help me with my journey.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to get these shoes and hit a trail and like, oh, because my feet were so raw feeling afterwards. And the kids want to go run away. I'm like, my legs hurt.
We're done here,
Please.
guys. Yeah. That's awesome. And that's what I asked. I figured it was just like your gym shoes or whatever normal
Yeah.
shoes you have. And that's if somebody is listening to this and again is like, I've been thinking about running it, but I don't have a way to track my heart rate in a time, or I don't really have running shoes, or insert, whatever reason. Again, kind of the theme we've been talking about. Like it's just getting there. That's kind of the beauty. What I like about running is it's such a innate like human thing to just move
Yep.
a little faster, and you can do it barefooted. Even like it's just there. You don't have to have these things, all these things to do it. Like mountain biking or biking. Like you obviously need a bike, and that's super expensive. Like the entry to a degree of however much you want to put into it, right? But you have to have a bike. If you're just running, man, like you can literally whatever shoes you're on, go run the field barefoot or whatever. Like it's just such a easy way to a comfortable thing to start doing um even like in arm wrestling, right? Like you have an arm, but it's still like it's a weird kind of thing to do it and like a lot or harder. Like I don't even arm wrestle. Like when's the last time you did that? Like it sounds dangerous. But everyone knows like running. It's like tic tac toe. Like yeah, I can play tic tac toe with you. Like yeah, we can walk fast together or whatever. But you did it with your lawnmower dad shoes and
Yeah, I did. I did. I
yes.
also had an Under Armour shirt, like my other shirt on top, but the Under Armour shirt kept rising up, so that was a pain in the butt. But next time I'm prepared, and also my shorts because I've lost a lot of weight. They're like really long now. It's almost like a dress. And
No.
they kept getting in the way, so I'm kind of like
You're like
running and
rolling up the
adjusting.
waistband and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So next time I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna give me some new shorts. I'm going to blow past my old time, and and then I'm coming for you,
Dude,
one
dude,
race at a time.
that's an awesome goal. And I think even and quickly, yeah, before we close out here, I think setting goals is a great thing, and also rewarding yourself is a great thing. But like you said, rewarding yourself with like I know I'll get motivation from a new pair of running shorts,
Yes.
or even a pair of socks, or a new protein. Like I need out of protein mix. Let's get something. I want to try this new brand, or I got an even if it's just again you want to try it out. So you have to do the thing to really try it out or to use it, or if it's a whatever. So I think that's a great way to reward
Yeah.
yourself.
One a
Um,
mistake people makes, they're like, oh, if I eat healthy for 2 weeks, I'm gonna have a cheat day. Why not instead of having a cheat day? Why not just have go buy yourself something nice instead? So you're not making all this progress and taking a step back. And as a fat guy, I know it takes one cheat meal, and you wake up 6 months later, and you're like, "What happened?"
I was doing so good. Yeah.
So cheat meals aren't an option. That's why you like, okay, how do I reward myself? And I like to set these early. Like as soon as I pass the goal, I'm already thinking of the next. All right, this is my next goal. How can I set my goals and it be something that I want, but nothing crazy? Because obviously you don't need to be spending $500 every 20 pounds,
Right.
every
Something
10
doable.
pounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes you feel good. First for making the weight, then getting that nice, like me, getting this nicer pair of shoes, which I'm so excited to run with them, so I can feel my feet afterwards and be happy.
And just try something out. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, if you need, speaking of shoes, I recently made a somewhat helpful, somewhat confusing episode about shoe parts and fitting and what all the pieces do.
now I
On
wear
the
size 16E. Do they
well, then
make those in running shoes?
that is actually a really good question. That is interesting. Um, hmm, I don't know. I just have average feet, but I know I've seen plenty of shoes at like clearance racks and stuff that were like way bigger than my feet. And I'm like, oh man, like dang it, these are so. There's ways.
Every time I see them on a clearance rack or like Ross or something, they're always like purple and brown, and they're like size 20s, even too big for me. Or if they fit me, they're the most random colors, like green and purple
Ugliest.
together. You're like,
Yeah,
I have nothing to go with this. I'm gonna look weird.
like that's a deal, but this is terrible. Yeah, who designed this shoe? Yes, dude, awesome. This is Yeah, this is really cool. Thank you so much for being on here and joining me with this and kind
Anytime.
of telling your side of the story. I'm just glad we got to talk again. Yeah, quickly tell people where they can mention your podcast that you're on and your guys
Yes,
and what y'all
yes.
do and all that stuff, buddy.
So I know I make fun of you for liking
Uh-huh.
arm
No,
wrestling.
I'm about to cut into you too. Say it. Say it.
So the only thing worse than arm wrestling is wrestling. And I actually have a podcast about professional wrestling.
No, tell me, Brandon, is this like this is like the wrestling like in the Olympics, right? And like what
Nope.
colleges do?
So growing up, the two things I was ashamed of that I wouldn't tell people about is that I play World of Warcraft and that I watch wrestling. Well, I now do a podcast about wrestling with my World of Warcraft friends. So
He's ascended. Yeah.
so we have an interesting little show here. We have one of our people who hasn't watched wrestling in 30 years. They go back to Hulk Hogan, like he's old days. And then you got one of our guys who's a big AEW fan, which is not WWE. And I'm the WWE guy. As Frank can tell you, I've always loved wrestling. And so we got these three personalities that come from different parts of wrestling. And we were like, you know what we can do? We can put all our brains together, watch this stuff, and give the people our takes. And a lot of
Yeah,
times
it's fun.
we argue, mainly me and my Canadian friend Shoe Boots, who is the other. He's the one that likes AEW, and it's all about wrestling. If
Yeah. Y'all
I,
just hang out, have fun, talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
having a good time,
Make predictions. Yeah.
make predictions. All the thing all wrestling podcasts do, but with our little twist in it.
What's your twist on it?
And I will say I'm biased, but I think it's a great show. And I know when I watch wrestling, because I am a big wrestling fan, sometimes I just want more. I want, there's something enjoyable about being able to talk to someone else about wrestling and just being able to listen to other people talk about wrestling, watch videos of people talking about wrestling. So, this is what you're
Yeah.
going to do. I
For
know
the
you,
fans.
all your fans are wrestling fans. I know they are.
Where can they find you, Brandon?
You're gonna find me on anywhere you can get a podcast. It's gonna be Wrestling is for Losers, and I'm the best host. You can go ahead and put the comments, give us
And
five
YouTube as well,
stars.
right?
YouTube,
So
we're
we got
on
video stuff.
Twitch under Shoe Boots because we don't have enough people to make our own Twitch yet. And yeah, anywhere you get podcasts, Wrestling is for Losers. I promise you it's a great show. I actually have other friends who don't even like wrestling, but they like to hear me talk trash to the other
Yeah.
co-hosts. So give it a try.
It is cool. I tuned in once when you told me about it, and y'all were just joking around and having fun. So it's definitely it's neat. I'm happy you're having fun about it and get to do all that finally. Uh, you'll have to tell all them about your. Y'all to sneak that into like, oh guys, I was just
Oh, I will.
recording with a buddy on Light on the Trail podcast where you can find it on Spotify and all like and just put it in just like that. But
I will
thank
say
you.
one thing real fast.
Do it.
Um, it's not as PG. We're a little bit crude.
Thank you for the disclaimer.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. All right, bud. Yeah, again, I appreciate you so much for taking time to do this. I know you've doing the dad stuff, working and doing the gym time and all that stuff. So us finding the time to do this
Yeah.
uh, can be
So
hard sometimes, but I appreciate it.
I think it's up to you. I think after my next run, we should do it again and see what the progress is.
A recap, yeah.
Yeah.
How then to now kind of feel, and if you beat your time, because that is I'm going to be asking you about that too for sure.
I'm
So that'd
going
be
to
sweet.
blow my time away. Watch.
I like it. We'll definitely do that. All right, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, we'll catch up on the next one.
Oh, they can't see me.
No,
Embarrassing.
say bye, and I'll say bye, and then I'll cut it in.
Bye.
Perfect. Awesome.